A first-person warrior combat game.
Yeah, which would make it a little more their, whatever that PS3 Move game was. It had the gladiator stuff, so it was reminiscent of that, but it had a good setup. I mean, Crytek do great things with graphics, and this might become the most graphically advanced motion control game that we've ever seen. We've not really seen that combination before. We usually see cartoony graphics with motion control, so this is a different proposition.
Now, you know, we've got obviously Sony coming up. We've got Nintendo coming up. Overall, you're giving Microsoft a B, but how do you think the other guys are going to do here?
I think Nintendo's in a really good position with their new console. I'm a little worried about 3DS support, but I expect Nintendo to do very well.
Yeah.
Sony's going to have a rocky time just because the platform's been in such trouble for a while that, I mean...
The games are going to be great. I mean, Uncharted 3 is going to be massive. We showed Resistance 3.
The new God of War they were expecting to see as well. I mean, there should be some cool stuff.
All right, well, Stephen, thank you very much for your instant analysis there. You heard what he thinks, but what about all the gamers at home? Over in our social media hub is Justine. Justine, what's the verdict online?
Well, thank you guys so much for all of your tweets. You guys have been tweeting so much. The game trailers has actually been trending worldwide, so keep those tweets coming. And one of the things that I'm actually most excited about with the press conference is that YouTube will be coming to Xbox Live. Now let's see what you guys are talking about. Here on Twitter, we have Nick Zass from Twitter says, new Halo trailer to close the conference, the kickoff of a new trilogy. EBA Jess on Twitter says, holy voice recognition shepherd. And we also have from Facebook, Derek B. says, Xbox Connect with Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon actually had me wondering if I should go get a Connect. Looked pretty sexy. Now I actually have a Connect, and I'm a pretty big fan of it, so yes, Derek, go get one. Victor B. on Twitter says, Ghost Recon's gunsmith mode is simply unbelievable. And we have Solo Shot First on Twitter. Holy wow, Tomb Raider looks phenomenal. iGod on Twitter. Okay, that's a pretty badass Modern Warfare 3 sub-explosion. Thank you guys for all of your tweets. Be sure to tweet us at Game Trailers and be sure to use the hashtag GTE3 so we will be able to see all those tweets. And over to Jeff.
All right, well, thank you very much, Justine. And now it's time to get on with some of our other exclusive demos and footage premieres on Spike. And I'm really excited to have this guy with me. He's working on BioShock Infinite. He brought us Rapture before Herald Camping. It is Ken Levine. Ken, great to have you here. Welcome to E3.
Thanks for inviting me, Jeff.
So BioShock Infinite we saw for the time last year in the summer. You guys have been quiet for a while, but I got to see a demo a few weeks ago, which I think is clearly a front runner for Game of the Show. I mean, it's just phenomenal what you're doing with BioShock Infinite. Now, for folks that are familiar with Rapture, this is a different BioShock, right? We're set in the sky, city in the sky, Columbia, right?
Yeah, this is not the BioShock on my shirt, which is a cool fan-made shirt, so I just want to wear it for them. But yes, the BioShock Infinite is set in the city of Columbia, which is a city in the sky and built around the turn of the century by the American government as sort of a example of the amazing success of the American experiment. Yeah. And of course, being a BioShock game, this utopian ideal doesn't exactly go as planned. And you play a guy named Booker DeWitt, who is a sort of a former Pinkerton agent, a bit of a shady character who gets an offer he can't refuse to go to this city and retrieve this woman Elizabeth and bring her back to Earth.
Now, there's also some warring factions, whereas, you know, Rapture, the fight had already sort of happened when you got there. This, you've got sort of two warring, you've got the Founders on one end, and then you've got, on the other side, the Vox Populi. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, one thing that we're trying to do with BioShock Infinite, I kind of felt like with BioShock, you sort of, with the first game, you sort of arrived after the party was over to some degree, and you sort of saw the results of this struggle. And when you get to Columbia and BioShock Infinite, you're not only is the conflict between the Vox Populi and the Founders still very much going on, you and this woman Elizabeth that you've rescued, or well, you've rescued, you're really set the spark that really accelerates the conflict, and you're there right in the middle of it.
Now, you brought some exclusive new footage to show us of parts of sort of your E3, a fly-through of this area where the Vox live, I guess, right?
Yeah, we want to focus this footage on, well, it's actually where the Vox are coming in into a rich part of town, because the Vox Populi are sort of an internationalist workers movement that kind of goes crazy, and they've actually come into the really Tony part of town, and they're kicking the rich guys out. And you're sort of there as this is happening. And the video we're going to show you just sort of like some of the, we're focusing on like just want to show you some of the propaganda and their
ideology. The world is so rich and textured. I mean, there's these great sort of projections on these red sort of drapes. Let's take a look here at world premiere of BioShock Infinite from Irrational Games, which is coming out in 2012. So why don't you tell us what we're seeing, Ken?
Yeah, you know, you see a poster, you know, for the Vox Populi up in the world, and Daisy Fitzroy there is the leader of the group, and you know they've just come in and they've torn down everything that they hate about this world, the ideology of the founders and their wealth and their power, and they're just crushing it in this part of town. And you're in this demonstration that we're going to show at E3. You're with Elizabeth, just trying to get through this part of town and get to where you're going. And you can see there's Daisy Fitzroy projection of her up on the wall. Wow. And they've actually gone to a post office and they've completely torn it apart because they view even the postmen as representatives of the powers that be. Yeah. And you'll see what happens to a postman in this demonstration. They're pretty serious about what they're doing.
I mean, a lot of tension, obviously, in this world between the two factions. And Elizabeth sort of plays into this as well because I guess the founders are she's trying to be killed by them almost, right?
Well, the founders, you bust her out of this tower, basically, that she's been imprisoned since she was a little girl. And she has no idea why she was imprisoned. The only companion she has is this huge bird-like creature called the songbird, this huge like monster kind of thing. And that's her only companion. She doesn't know anything. She doesn't know why she was in prison. She doesn't know about these. She doesn't know about these powers she has.
She can tear into time. It seems like, right?
There are these things called tears, which you will show in the E3 demo, where you saw a couple of weeks ago, which are just these really mysterious things that have these phenomena that have happened in the world, and everybody can see them. And there are things that don't necessarily exist in our world or our reality that people can see, but she's the only one who can actually manipulate them. Right. And this is a huge part of the story, but it's also going to be a huge part of the gameplay that you'll see in the demo. That gives you, as Booker, through Elizabeth, another ability to change the battle space.
Sounds
completely.
Very exciting. All right, well, BioShock Infinite coming in 2012. I think we'll hear much more from you at E3. Ken, thank you so much for joining us. And now we're going to head on over and take another break, but we'll be back right after this with more GTTV E3 All Access. Skyrim is next.
Round-the-clock coverage of E3, whether it's from a computer, your TV, or mobile device, look no further than GameTrailers.com and GTTV on Spike. Find E3 on any device, anytime. The only place to go for the biggest moments of E3, live and in high definition, is GameTrailers.com. With over 20 hours of uninterrupted live coverage, including every major press conference, jaw-dropping demos, and exclusive interviews from the site that delivers the games that matter most. Coming up at 3:30 p.m. Eastern, 12:30 p.m. Pacific, EA rolls in the big guns. And we've got exclusive coverage of Game Changers EA 2011 preview from the Orpheum Theater. See the first demos of Battlefield 3, Mass Effect 3, and many more surprises. Later at 5:30 p.m. Eastern, 2:30 p.m. Pacific, Ubisoft is live in LA. We've got the breaking news. See Assassin's Creed Revelations for the first time live from the Los Angeles Theater at Ubisoft's 2011 E3 press conference. And if that wasn't enough, the day ends with the Sony press conference from the LA Sports Arena. Uncharted 3, Resistance 3, the NGP, what will Sony have in store and live on stage? All the answers are coming your way live at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on Game Trailers. From there, get some rest before GT powers up for Day 2 of E3 All Access Live. Tuesday morning, we're back at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, 8:30 a.m. Pacific for live coverage as Nintendo unveils its new console at its 2011 E3 media briefing. Following the briefing, stay tuned to GT for an exclusive interview with Nintendo President Reggie Fils-Aimé and a full day of exclusive game demos and reveals. And remember, the coverage doesn't stop there. It's actually just the beginning. Once the show floor opens, we don't sleep. Know that Game Trailers will have hundreds of videos, demos, gameplay, trailers, and interviews posted free, in HD, and before anywhere else, 24 hours a day. Can't get to a TV or computer during E3 week? No problem. Game Trailers' presence will be felt not only on our website, but across more platforms than ever with an E3 web app for iPhone and Android, live streaming and exclusive content on Facebook, up-to-the-minute breaking news on our Twitter feed, and an iPad-optimized live streaming player. Did you get all that? Not to worry, the entire schedule of the week's events, plus the domain for all E3 news, video, and media, can be found at GameTrailers.com/E3. Nobody does it bigger or better. The moments that change the gaming industry happen first and only on GameTrailers.com, live at E3, broadcasting around the world. Do you have questions about the biggest games at E3 for your favorite developer? Social media correspondent Justine Azarek is taking your Twitter and Facebook questions and comments all day, giving you the opportunity to interact with gaming's biggest names. If you're on GameTrailers.com, just log into our chat widget to the right of the player and ask questions using your Facebook or Twitter ID. Those of you watching the stream on your mobile device or via one of our syndicated partners, make sure to use the hashtag GTE3 or follow Game Trailers on Twitter to participate. We'll also be soliciting questions and highlighting user feedback on our Facebook page at facebook.com/GameTrailers. Are you loving all the exclusives but afraid that you'll go through withdrawal after E3 ends? GTTV has you covered. Every week we have exclusive trailers, gameplay, and interviews from the industry's hottest games that you won't see anywhere else. Jeff Keighley knocks down developers' doors, grabbing early access to the biggest games. If it makes news in the gaming world, hosts Daniel Kaiser and Amanda McKay are on the scene. And Justine Azarek previews the latest gaming tech. Gaming doesn't end with E3. Tune in every Thursday night, 1 a.m., only on Spike. GameTrailers.com lets you take E3 on the go with live video streaming of all the major press conferences right to your iPhone, iPad, or Android smartphone. You can't get to a computer or TV, take E3 with you anywhere right in the palm of your hand. Log on to GameTrailers.com on your iOS or Android device right now to get access to the latest news, hottest trailers, and most importantly, our continuing live E3 coverage right in the palm of your hand. No E3 badge, no problem. We have you covered at GameTrailers.com.
Welcome back to GTTV Presents Live. I'm Amanda McKay here in Los Angeles. The EA press conference is still to come, and we promise to show you more first looks than anywhere else. Coming up, we'll demo Batman Arkham City, but first, here's Jeff Keighley with a franchise that began way back in 1994.
All right, I am now here joined by Todd Howard from Bethesda Game Studios, because if there's going to be a battle for Game of the Show, it's going to happen between, I think, BioShock Infinite, and then we've got Elder Scrolls Skyrim, we've got Batman coming. All the big games of E3 are here first on Spike. Todd, let's get to Skyrim. People, you announced it at the VGAs. People want to see the gameplay. You going to give us a sneak peek?
We are. We're showing a big 30-minute demo here at E3. We've built a really cool booth. We're showing it in private underneath an actual life-size dragon that we've built here at E3. It's awesome. We wanted to give all the fans and the audience of Game Trailers and Spike a sneak peek.
All right, cool. Here we go. This is Skyrim. It looks beautiful.
Here it is running on the 360. It is a huge, epic fantasy game where you can be who you want and do whatever you want. We're really, really pushing the hardware. We've rewritten all the graphics, all of the gameplay this go-around, and we just want to fill a world with detail. All the little things. You can look at these plants, so micro detail, macro detail. You can walk to the top of that mountain. If you've played our stuff, you know these are huge games that are wide open for you to explore and do what you want. We have a new animation system, so you can play in third person. So some nice blending on the character.
That is Dragonborn.
That is, you can be whoever you want, male or female. This is the character we're showing. So a lot of people like to play in third person, so it's a real viable option this go around.
Mm-hmm. As you, I mean, you've got wildlife. You've got, I mean, the world is really alive.
Really, really alive. So we push for, and it's you are who you play. The right trigger does your right hand. The left trigger does your left hand. And so as opposed to picking a character, you just be who you want, do what you want. So now I'm kind of being a battle mage, where the left trigger is casting this healing spell, and I can put that in any hand if I want. So right trigger, and then left trigger.
Dual wield spells, and you power
up.
What's
cool
I guess,
is if you pull both triggers at the same time, you get a more powerful version
of that spell. Now we're headed up high up into the mountains where it gets snowy.